The chaos continues. You're listening to Jeff and Jeremy on 93.3 KZOZ.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Skin, how you doing?
Doing good. You know, I was thinking, congrats for still being in radio. You know how many people have dropped off over the years?
I know, and at the same station for, 18 years now, Jeff? It's been
it's
quite
crazy.
a while.
No, it really is because, I've been doing radio interviews since like 1997, and from like 99 to 2012, I mean, I can't imagine how many shows I did, but I've noticed over time, especially in the last 10 years, the number of shows has just, around the country, with original programming, has just tanked. And it's like, there's a lot of reasons for that, but it's just amazing. And there's very few shows that still exist that were around 10 years ago,
It's really strange. We've had opportunities to go to other places, and we monitor those jobs as they've hired people and let them go, and hire people and let them go. And it's fascinating because then, it's like the grass is always greener, but it's not really, type of thing.
Right.
Exactly. It's a good station in the sense that the community is still super engaged. I mean, it's so
important.
Big enough.
Because you'll always be able to sell advertising when you get the community engaged,
Yeah, and it's big enough to where people around here, it is something that they still thirst for. And a lot of radio stations, there's like 4 or 5 huge companies, and they bought up as many radio stations as they could, and then they got the market share, and then they just go based on the national buys after that. And the local's been shut out, so it sucks. It's a product that, like in places like Los Angeles, and it's hard in Los Angeles too. Like you can't, like if you're broadcasting from Culver City, how are you going to speak to somebody that's out in San Bernardino? You can't do it. It's impossible. I mean, those are like 2 different states down there, and
I always say and I've been saying this for 10 years. Name in men's radio, right? The old Morning Zeus format radio, not the other stuff, but men's radio. Name an up and coming young radio guy.
You can't. That's probably why our jobs are secure, to be honest.
It's just weird. Like, there's just no young, 28-year-old guy that's been, he was in Des Moines, now he's in, a bigger city, and then a bigger city. It's just not that way anymore,
No, everything has changed so much. And it might be podcasting. That might be a big part of it. I'm sure it is.
It's some of it, but I think it's more about what you brought up about there used to be, now everything's owned by one, 1 to 4 huge companies, so.
And I also
they cut down.
I think younger people, they just don't think like the way that we were raised in radio. You know what I mean? Like the kind of radio we listen to. And I mean, obviously Howard Stern and Don and Mike and like some of these guys that were really good at creating an environment that you would hear, and telling a community. But it's also just like creating that atmosphere coming through a speaker, because all you have is sound, and so I just think I don't know. I think other people are doing other things. I don't know. I don't really. We have a university.
No, but there's a lot of factors. There's so many other things people can do that they couldn't do in the 90s or 2000s. There's so many other ways you can get media. Podcast, yes, is a part of it. The whole the Harvey Weinstein stuff has a bit to do with it. There's a lot of factors, but it's just weird. But anyway, my whole point was congrats for still having a show, because when I used to do these interviews, I used to, when I do my Anatomy Awards, I literally would have to do 50 interviews in a week and a half to 2 weeks. And now I'm probably do 20 maybe, so it's just different. It's just different. So
it is a lot different. It sucks.
Yeah. No, but it's I'm also older. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Radio shows my whole life,
Yeah, but you spent a lot of time on the radio. I mean, because radio is kind of what built your product, right?
Yeah, 100%. Luckily, we've kind of diversified and now are into a bunch of technology and own a bunch of websites and partnerships and managing other websites. So we make money and have potential, but it's more than just MrSkin.com. But my focus for my radio is Mr. Skin. Like, I don't go on the air and talk about all the side businesses we have and stuff. So anyway, just for you guys. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get going then, shall we?
Yes.
Here we go.
Subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy podcast now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. It's your Central Coast commute-friendly podcast.